Here we go. Tonight we're going to be talking about different personalities and how to adjust to them. I wanted to begin this evening by talking about dealing with difficult people, and I'm glad to see the faces of some experienced agents here. Alfred says, thank you very much. Cool. What would you say about this, Phil?
Oh, it's probably the biggest thing we can get out of tonight is to just be able to identify them and either learn how to deal with them or learn how to get away from them. Save yourself a lot of time.
Okay.
You know, especially sellers, because if they're difficult on, for instance, price, they're going to be the same person that's going to chase you down and wonder why you haven't showed their property.
How do you spot someone who's going to be difficult to work with? Roger?
They can be argumentative. They can
Okay.
they can know everything before you walk in the door.
Okay. Argumentative.
That's a good one, argumentative. Untrusting.
Well, yeah, write the word. We're going to spend about 15 minutes describing these people to you, and ask yourself if they're willing to consider you as trustworthy in absence of any evidence to the contrary. What kind of assumptions do these people make about other people? Because whatever assumptions they tell you about other people are going to be ultimately probably their opinion of you. Okay? Does that make sense? I'll give you a little tip that I used to use all the time is when you sit down and you talk to someone, if the first 10 things that come out of their mouth characterize what they sound like. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
The girls have arrived?
Yeah, we got our workout, dude. Hurry up. I'm late because of her.
You felt the need to announce that, Grace? Okay, good. All right. All right.
Hey, I pulled up in her driveway and she wasn't right out of the curb, so.
A friend of mine told me one time that he could always learn whatever he needed to know about somebody by playing golf with them for one round. I don't know, I'm not a golfer, but do the golfers think that's true? Let me see hands. You guys think that's true? Yeah? Greg, why is that true?
I think just because you can kind of see, you can get a little bit of everybody's, like their whole personality by the end of the round if you're playing with them.
Yeah?
Because you can
Okay.
see them in their best and worst moods because you go through just about every mood while you're playing golf, and you can pick up on everything, and it's just kind of like, it's also like when you're in a comfortable state at the same time, so you're
Okay.
how you actually are.
Nick, you're kind of nodding your head. You think that's true? Yeah?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'll show you one that I used over the years because I'm not a golfer, but I take the first 10 things anybody says to me, and mentally I make a list, and I start putting tick marks like this. And most of the time, 8 out of 10 things that people will tell you, at least, you could characterize as negative or positive in the first 10 things that they tell you. Now, it's very important that you understand, you're more than welcome to make a note about this. It's even more revealing if it's not important. Okay? In other words, if what they're talking about is really incidental to the process of their involvement with you in a real estate transaction, that's an even better indicator. Okay? Now, what do you think I think if I got 8 positive marks?
If you got 8 positive, they're probably somebody you want to work with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What do you think if I got 8 negatives?
Let them go.
Let them go. Okay. Yeah, one of the things we're going to share with you tonight that might be very hard for, and I hope new agents listen to this carefully, get rid of these people. Okay? Before they drive you nuts, before they sue you. You know, I always tell people say, well, I can't get rid of him. He's the only guy I got. What do you think I say?
Find somebody else.
Find somebody else. How many people in this room have worked with somebody that you're sitting there thinking this is probably not a good idea. You know, your intuitions were telling you this is not a good idea, okay? How many times were you wrong? Okay. I don't see a hand, all right? So on number 4, I would put down there, trust your intuition. When your guts are talking to you and they're telling you to get away from this person, do it, okay? Run. Nuts will present themselves as victims. All right? What else? What other characteristics do you think? Mick, you've talked to a couple of these people. You're getting kind of red in the face just thinking about it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we're getting all kind of fired up about it.
What do you think?
What do I think about people?
No, what would be one way that you would figure out who these people are? What symptoms have you seen? I'll tell you one is, the biggest one's number 2. Put a little asterisk beside that. These people don't trust anybody.
Yeah, it's just with my experience over the last 6 to 8 weeks is that if they're negative about everything that is bad that has happened to them, and they don't take ownership.
Mm-hmm. They don't take ownership. Everything's right down next to victims. Everything's always somebody else's fault. Yeah, absolutely. Alfred, you had a comment.
If they tell you what to do instead of you don't.
Oh, thank you so much. You know, I was going to open with that and I forgot, and I think it would have gotten by me. So you're absolutely right. Honest to God, I was. Okay? They tell you your job rather than the reverse. Boy, I'll tell you, when I start hearing that, I'm like, uh-oh. Gwen's nodding her head, right? You know these people, right?
They used to sell real estate 20 years ago, or their mom was a realtor, or their aunt or somebody did something with real estate.
And so they know more about it than you do, right?
Or they're in sales.
I know what my house is worth.
I know what my house is worth. Okay, yeah. All right. Bad sign, right? I'm not going to give it away. That's not a good sign. It's not necessarily a real bad sign. I think the person may be saying that if they can't get a price that makes sense for them, they probably shouldn't sell their home in today's market. If that's what they mean, I'm okay with it, okay? If they think that everybody out there trying to buy a house right now wants to steal theirs, that's not a good sign, okay? That's not a rational behavior. Because if they were on the other end of the fence, what would they be trying to do? Get the best home for the best price, right? Think about that. That doesn't make any sense. So right next to number 5, I would like you to write down is, does what they tell you make sense? Okay? Or are they just telling you stuff? I'll give you some real quick clues. Nuts brag. They make inappropriate disclosures. I'll give you a real quick list. They make inappropriate disclosures. They brag. They talk about money long before they should when they know you. They generally try to impress you a lot of times. They are, for the most part, profoundly insecure. They have nervous habits. They're rhythmic. They're kind of always bouncing around a little bit. Okay. They jingle money in their pocket. I used to call, boy, when I walk up to somebody and they're like, hey, how you doing? Let me tell you what I think about selling my house. And they're snapping their gum and they're jingling change in their pocket. I know I'm in deep trouble. Okay? So if you spot a nut, so what do you do about them? Other than fire them. Sometimes you can work, if you have a choice between working with a crazy seller or working with a crazy buyer, which is easier? Seller. Why?
Because buyers sue you.
Buyers will sue you, number 1. As a very practical matter, that is a concern, okay? So there's much less of a possibility that a seller is going to sue you. As a practical matter, what is another reason why it's easier to work with crazy sellers than crazy buyers?
You don't spend as much time there.
That's it. Write it down, okay? You don't spend as much time with them. Running around with a kook for 5 hours in the car will make you want to go home and sleep for 3 days, okay? Talking to somebody for a half hour about selling their house is no big deal, okay? You can get out anytime you want. Yes, Gwen?
This is sort of off the subject, but not actually entirely. What's your viewpoint on driving people in your own car as opposed to making them follow you?
Well, I believe that they should be in your car, okay? For a lot of different reasons, and it's one of the things that we strongly endorse in the whole throughout the buyer seminar. And the reason for that is anything and everything that you can do to, in their minds, frame the experience as a team effort with you is a positive, okay?
Yeah, that's what I think. Unless you don't like them very much.
Well, you can write this one down, okay? People that you don't like are probably not going to buy a house from you.
Yeah.
You think that's true, Gwen?
Usually, yeah.
Yeah.
Occasionally, I mean, I've sold houses to people that I absolutely couldn't stand by the time it was over, but it's like, I want my money. I work for it, I'm on a check.
I love it when agents tell me they've shown 30 houses, but boy, they got so much time and energy involved in dealing with this kook, they're going to go show 40 more. I'm going to sell them a house, I don't care what happens. Of course, they're down to $4 an hour by the time they hit the number. You having a few experiences? Can you relate to this, Josh? Or are you having some experience? No, not at all. Huh?
Taking your advice on that one.
Have you? Yeah? Getting rid of them? Okay. Do you guys want some dialogues for dealing with these people? What do you want? Tell me what you need, and I'll tell you what to tell them.
Yeah, how do you go about firing? How do you let them go?
Josh, I don't think you're being realistic, and I need to share that with you, okay? This is not an easy conversation for me, and it's not something I look forward to. But here's the deal. I think you want a $90,000 house for $50,000, and I don't have any. What are your thoughts? Okay? You guys okay with saying that to somebody? Let me tell you something, it's a lot easier than driving around trying to find that stupid house that you'll never find, and then they'll blame you for it, and 4 realtors later they'll buy something from somebody who was willing to have that conversation, I might add. Okay? Now you can soften that up. You want me to give you the soft version of that? Boy, you know, Josh, I really hesitate to bring this up, okay? It's making me really uncomfortable. Here's where I see you right now. I think you want like a $90,000 house for $50,000, and you know, I've been struggling with this for a couple of days now, and I really hesitate to tell you this, as I said, but I don't think I have any, and I don't really know what to do about that. I need your help with this. Can you help me with that? Because, you know, there are buyers out there now, and they're all looking for a really good deal, but these houses have already been reduced $40,000 or 40%. You got to take what you can get. You can't buy houses for half price in today's. How many people in here have worked with a buyer who thinks that because of today's market they are entitled to buy a house for half price? Okay, okay. Let's take a couple of minutes and talk about that for a second. I'm going to okay, give me another dialogue example. Are you guys okay with that one? You want me to let me give you some component parts, okay? I'm gonna try to make them soft for you so you guys can get them out. I'm usually a lot more direct than that, and I want you to write this down about dealing with difficult people, okay? The more difficult you suspect someone is, the more direct and straightforward you need to be with them. Also, the more business-like you need to be with them. I used to tell my son when I was training him in the business, bullies don't mind being bullied. It's what they're used to. Okay? And if you think they're nuts, tell them, I don't think this is going to work. I don't think you're being rational here. Tell them whatever you want to tell them. They don't have a problem with it. Okay? He worked with a lot of buy owners in his early years in the business, so he really needed some special skills with these people. Okay? Because a fairly high percentage of them are difficult to deal with. Okay, give me another dialogue. Give me something else. Josh popped up with that one. How do you fire them? Tell them, I don't know what I'm going to do here. Now, if you have that conversation, okay, you got a $90,000 guy who wants to buy it for $50,000, There's two possibilities here. We mentioned one. One is that he's nuts, and what's another one?
Misinformed.
He's misinformed, right? So this is kind of important if you're going to deal with difficult people too. Before you kick these people out, try to figure out who they are. Now, how can you figure out who they are? There's only two possibilities here. This person is either uninformed, underinformed, or misinformed. Or they're nuts. Now, if you just go home, here's what most realtors do with, what do you think most people do with people like that Josh just mentioned? What do you think they do?
Walk away.
They walk away. But is there a problem with that? What?
They don't know which one it is.
They don't know which one it is. Okay? Here's what most realtors do with this particular environment that Josh just presented for us. They don't call these people back. Okay?
Ignore them.
Now, I'm going to save you some money tonight and tell you that there's some people on this side of that fence. Okay? And if you don't suck it up and have that conversation, okay, some of these people are just going to go to somebody else. They're going to have that conversation I just suggested that you have with Josh, and they're going to go sell them a house. Because some of these people are going to say, oh, really? I'm glad you told me. Must have been kind of tough. Some of them are just going to go, well, I had a guy one time, his name was Dennis. Dennis said to me, he said, well, if that's the best you can do, I just need to work for somebody else. And I said, I think that's a really good idea. Okay? Okay? Yes?
I think they tip themselves often by saying things like, well, I'm not in a hurry. I'm just going to keep on looking and keep on making bids until I find something, until I get what I want or find something, that suits me. I mean, that kind of person right off the bat. I mean, like I left a guy practically standing in a backyard once because he called me out to look at this house. We're looking around the outside and stuff. He says, yeah, I've been looking for about 2 years. And he says, I don't think that the market has quite hit bottom yet. So I'm thinking I'm just going to hold out. And I'm like, bye-bye. I just left.
Two magic questions. Thank you for bringing that up. How long have you been looking for a home? I've looked at 78 houses in the last 2 months. Haven't found a thing that I liked. I got another magic question for you. When do you plan on moving into your new home? If they don't have a definite time, they may be just a looker. We used to call them the finger of God people. They're waiting for the clouds to part and this giant hand to come down and go, this is the one. Okay? It's not going to happen. All right? I used to tell them there's no harp music in this business. Okay? All right. I'm going to give you some phrases you can use with these people. I'm sorry that you feel that way. I'm sorry that you feel that way. Agree with them. You know, Jared, you're right to believe that prices have really collapsed in our area because they have. They're down probably 25 to 35%, and you can save a lot of money on buying a home. But I'm going to ask you to realize that that $150,000 house that was selling 3 years ago, it's now priced at $90,000. The air has already been taken out of that price. Now I'm going to be watching you real carefully. I'm going to be a careful observer of your reaction to that. And I'm going to be trying to gauge whether you're hearing and listening to me or whether you're just dismissing me. Okay? That's what you got to learn how to do. And we're going to talk tonight about body language and how to figure out the difference between Jared's two reactions there. I'm sorry you feel that way. Based on your perspective, I might agree with you. Based on your perspective. Yes, Gwen.
Would you think it'd be helpful to maybe show these people, like, not just necessarily comps, but maybe like the last sale price on the home that they're looking at? Gee, this house sold for $160, 5 years ago, and now it's down to $125. I mean,
in the last buyer seminar that we did in here, We recommended that you not only do that, but that in addition to that, you go in and show them what the whole neighborhood was selling for 4 years ago.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That is a real wake-up call for these buyers. They're like, oh my goodness, you got to be kidding me. And they really become grateful for the opportunity to go ahead and proceed on a house. That has been a game changer. Agents have come back to me and told me that was a game changer for them.
4 years?
Yeah, somewhere 5, 6, and 7 were the big years, okay? The recessionary environment developed in early 2008, started. When you can see it on a graph, Lisa, you know, kind of like everything's just bumping along, and then all of a sudden you get this 3-year spike, and then everything kind of goes back down to normal in terms of the amount of sales, okay? It's real obvious. 05, 06, and 07. Another dialogue for you. I can appreciate your opinion, but I'm afraid we're going to have to agree to disagree agreeably on that. Write down the words agree to disagree agreeably on that. You know, you feel that the average ready, willing, and able buyer will pay $140,000 for this house, and the research is telling me that that number is more like 115. I don't think I can get this job done for you. You know, if you develop the language and the dialogues in this business, you can fire buyers, you can walk out of sellers' houses that you've just completely disagreed with, and they're going to be more than happy with you, okay? They might not agree with your opinion, but you're going to leave them with their dignity. Here's a phrase that I'm going to share with you. Attack ideas, not people, okay? Attack ideas, not people. People make head cases out of children by saying you're sloppy and you're lazy. Okay, when they should have said, you know, your room's a little disorganized here. You're better than that. You're much more organized than that. Let's get this cleaned up so you can have a good quality in here. You can enjoy your experience in your bedroom. It's how you talk to children. It's also how you talk to adults. Okay? Just a thought. Attack behaviors. Attack ideas, don't attack people. I love it when realtors come up to me and say, well, he's a head case. And I'm sitting there thinking, how would you know? How would you know? Did you ask this question? Did you tell this person that this is not a rational approach to the market today? Okay. Any other questions, any other dialogues you need? Phil, what do you think? You look like you're processing back there, Phil.
I'm just loving it. I think that a lot of this, you can build a lot of trust by having a buyer appointment before they get in the car. Is one of the things that come to my mind. It's almost, you can build a level of trust that you can almost say whatever you want to say once you've established that rapport. Once they trust you, you're home free, but you got to build that.
I'm going to suggest to you something you could write down too, and thank you, because that's a great idea. I always tell people there's only one group of people you should sell houses to. Your friends. Alfred looks confused. What I'm saying to you is that if you want to sell a house to Chad, become his friend. Okay? And as Phil said, once you leap over there, all of a sudden, if you want to know whether you're a friend with a buyer or not, if they see a house that they really, really like, are they like over in a corner whispering to each other about it? Or are they 6 inches from your face going, Dennis, we really like this house, what do you think? Okay? That's your friend. People buy houses from their friends. They don't buy houses from salespeople. They're scared to death of you when you meet them. Keep that in mind. Okay? So that's a little bit of a difference. Trust is everything with these people. Any other thoughts or comments on this, dealing with difficult people? I'll give you a couple. Easy exit marketing agreement. That thing has just been a lifesaver for me. It saved my career. I was burning out trying to keep these nuts happy. And when I figured out that all I had to do was tell them I quit, it really was a game changer for me.
It also makes it easier for you to get that one-year listing. When you talk about the
Absolutely. Yeah, you'll get a longer listing agreement. absolutely. Document everything with these people, send them follow-up. A large part of the, okay, here's one I wanted you to write down, expectations. When it comes to difficult people, if you think it's going to take 2 weeks, tell them 4. Okay? Something might go wrong. So with expectations, let's get through this list and we'll go into the written notes. What other things would you want to tell them about? These people need involvement. They need feedback. Get their email. I want to publicly thank Phil for badgering me for years about something called a Tour Factory, and tell him that that has been really transformational for us. Okay, truly. Okay, it's a Tour Factory, for those of you that don't use it, is a very big deal. And for $30 a month, it is the best value in the real estate business. When these people get their emails every Friday from you, that 4-page report, if they didn't give you a virtual tour, that 4-page report alone would be worth the money. You know?
I had an agent tell me this morning, she said, if I had to get rid of everything else, the one thing I would keep is Tour Factory.
Keeps your sellers happy, keeps them in the loop, keeps them informed, it demonstrates to them in full color that internet marketing works. They get to see every hit on their house from every potential website. It's a marvelous, marvelous tool. Anybody else in here use it?
I just signed up for it.
Did you? Okay, good. I hope you get on board with this. As fast as you're listing, Alfred, you need to take a hard look at this one. Okay, $30 a month, you can't, and that's total, that's not per listing. Okay? That's total cost. Unbelievable. Unbelievable value.
People are very smart. When you go to their website, tourfactory.com, it'll look like they want $49.95 a month for the unlimited package. These people are very smart. They want you to take their 1-hour webinar, and when you take their 1-hour webinar, it goes to $30 a month. They shape up. They know you'll stay around. That's how smart these people are.
Cool.
And you're right, you will, because it's a great product.
Good. Easy exit. That's really instrumental with difficult people, that they can get out anytime. That's something that they really like. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of expectations that you have with buyers, but one of the things you want to tell them is that most buyers only look at 8 to 10 houses, and it's because of the internet. Create that expectation. We're going to talk a whole lot about some other expectations as we go forward. Okay, let's get started. Yes, Mick.
That's something over the last few weeks, there's a buyer I'm working with, over the 3-day period, probably emailed me 35, 40 houses of what they wanted to go through, and that's exactly what I told them. You know, one of the beautiful things about the market, or, you know, internet, is that you are able to look at houses 24 hours a day. So I said, what we need to do is have a list. I think I said 10 to 12 houses. And then I said from there, we're going to be able to narrow it down to 2 or 3. So we should be able to find a house for you soon. And that's exactly what they did.
Really? Good.
It saved me a lot of time, you know, so.
Create those expectations, okay? I have friends of mine that are very, very productive in this business that will tell somebody, if I haven't found a house for you within 10 houses, I'm going to refer you on to another agent. I'm going to assume that the communication between the two of us is so bad, something so desperately wrong, that you need to be working with somebody else. Gwen's like, whoa, I know. You get some really radical ideas out there on a national level when you start going to conventions and stuff. That's very different, isn't it? The guy I was talking to makes $650,000 a year.
Is he saying that really for himself, because he wants to dump them because they didn't buy one yet?
No, he believes that he really needs to pound that expectation into their heads so he doesn't have to go out and show them 100 houses.
Oh, I see. I see.
Okay?
I see.
So, yeah, different ideas, huh? Ooh, Phil, this works.
Watching Sell in LA, the show where these agents in Los Angeles are working with buyers and sellers. Oh my God, the commissions like on one house is more than, you know, he's even ever made in the entire year.
My sisters lived in LA and around LA for 40 years, and I lived out there for about 2.5 years, and I can tell you it's a mixed bag, okay? There's a lot more realtors out there. They have some really crazy practices and stuff. Sometime we'll chat about it, but I can tell you that I think if I had to bring somebody new into the business, I'm not too sure I would consider it all that useful to have them in Pasadena instead of Toledo for a lot of different reasons. It's great when you sell a house, you just don't do it very often, you know.
Customers all seem like big pains in the arse.
Yeah, there's a little of that goes on too. 5-step listing presentation. Anybody remember this that's been around for a while? Roger, you remember any of this? Have you ever seen this before, Roger?
Yeah, I think I have.
Every presentation you ever do with anybody ever, every conversation, every appointment that you have, everything should have these 5 steps in it. And if you want to do yourself a huge favor in this business, when you leave here, learn this. Learn it inside out. First step is you establish rapport. What does that mean? I don't know, it means pet the bowling trophy, whatever, okay? And if the guy says,
Break the ice.
I'm sorry?
Break the ice.
Break the ice, yeah. If you see some children or whatever in a photo and you say, are these your kids? And they start pulling out extra photos and grabbing the photo album and stuff, it's great to talk to them about kids. I talked to a seller one time, I said, how many kids do you have? He said, 3. How long have you been in the business? We didn't do much more about kids. So we're going to talk tonight about how you adjust rapport to who you're talking to. This is really a fun, useful class. I can tell you, this owls, puppies, parrots stuff, Phil, I think it's the best material I've ever gotten in the business because I was too short with people for a long time. I have a certain kind of personality, and it really adversely impacted on my career until a national level sales trainer named John Tenza helped me sort it out. Rapport is, you establish rapport, and I want you to put over here, you adjust this to reflect the personality you're talking to. I can tell you in rapport and in general in a presentation, here's a good rule of thumb for you. If you're talking more than 25% of the time, you're talking too much. Okay? I'm going to give you another quick basic sales tip. Ask a lot of questions. What is an open-ended question?
One they can't just answer yes or no to.
And what does that look like?
How, what, when, where, why.
Who, what, where, when, why, how?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, ask rapport questions. Anybody remember what Ford stands for?
Family, occupation, recreation, dreams.
Dreams. You now can talk to them till doomsday. Okay? So all you got to remember is Ford. Throw a couple of other ones in there. You guys need to empower yourself to be able to talk to people for days. It's what you do for a living. Okay? People always say this is an information business. It's not an information business. It's a communication business. Okay?
What's the R?
Recreation.
Dennis, this one thing 20 years ago you told me this Ford, and it changed everything for me because I really had a hard time. I was, in the very past, doing different things other than sales, and this really helped me get out of my, get into a comfort zone. Maybe I don't know.
It helped me a lot because when I came in this business, it was, how you doing? That was my rapport. Okay? Let me tell you about my company. Okay? Believe me, for some people that didn't land real well. I was 26 years old. I didn't have the foggiest idea what I was doing. Okay? So yeah, thanks. It worked for me too. I mean, this is not mine. I mean, somebody gave it to me. I don't even remember, but it's a great one. Ask a lot of questions, and the more responsive they are, some guys will give you a one-word answer on family, and then they'll talk about being something. Their occupation is their life. Their avocation is their vocation. It's what they love. Let them talk about it. You want to be friends with somebody? Let them talk about what they love. Okay, establish rapport. We're going to give you 26 rapport questions in the ad call class. You can talk a long time. Identify needs. What are you trying to accomplish? Let's do some stuff here. Chad, thanks for having me over today. I really appreciate it. And we've spent about 10 minutes on rapport. Can you tell me a little bit about what you're looking for in a home? What are really the things that matter most to you?
Well, I need 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bath. And a big backyard.
Big backyard. Write this rapport question down. You know, Chad, let me ask you a question. We're sitting across the street from the house of your dreams on the curb. Where are we? Are we like in a subdivision, or are we out in the country? Like, are we looking at a farmhouse, or something old, or something new? What are we looking at?
Something old.
Something old. Charming, right? Are you looking for like a 2-story, kind of a Victorian, historical kind of thing?
Absolutely.
Okay. Some charm, huh? That's called a paraphrase, okay? We could go on and on and on. Do you need outbuildings, a garage?
Yes.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
an outbuilding, like a nice barn to store things, work on cars.
Work on cars, so you have some hobbies that would come in handy for, right? We can always tell about guys like you, Chad, because when you get out of the car, okay, your wife's going to go in the house, you're going to go in the outbuilding. And then you smile and you joke around with them a little bit. So you getting a feel for this at all? Okay, let them talk, okay? Say, well, what are your hobbies? You mentioned you worked on cars. You know, we'd be going on and on and on about cars. If that was something that really mattered to you, we'd be talking about them, all right? Okay, needs and wants. Ask yourself when you're talking to somebody, people always buy, what do you think, what they need or what they want? What they want, right? You're not seeing any subdivision houses with me, Chad. Not from what you just said, okay? You know, guys, people talk about buyers driving them nuts. When buyers are consistently driving you nuts or at a higher level than they would normally, it's because you're missing step 2. You're not listening carefully enough to what they're looking for, okay? I used to watch Gabe Barker. I have publicly acknowledged as the best person I've ever heard on the phone in an ad call. She would be on the phone with these people for 45 minutes. I mean, it was crazy. We worked in the office in the old days, and she would talk to them. She knew more about them than their mother by the time she was off the phone. It was crazy. Good stuff. This is for the guys only. Guys, this is your greatest weakness. Okay? You're lousy listeners. You're unempathetic. Okay? You're unwilling and uncomfortable talking to people on a feelings level. Get over it. You're in sales. Okay?
But you could turn that into a huge positive by that fact too, though.
Absolutely.
You become a real good listener, now they don't expect it from you, and you can blow them away.
You can correct it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Needs. You identify needs. What do you think the next thing you do is? Anybody know?
Act.
Hmm?
Act. Finding whatever they need.
Not yet. I'm sitting down with you, Josh. You're a buyer. We've built some rapport. You've told me what you're looking for in a home. What's next? Now, I want to freeze this moment. Don't raise your hand, but ask yourself this question. Do I have the foggiest idea what's next?
Yeah.
If you do, great. If you don't, keep coming for the next few Tuesdays. Okay? Because we can help you a lot. All right? Go ahead.
Financial.
Benefits
Benefits of what?
of the needs they describe, the features that are in the house, what are the benefits of the features?
No? I'm sitting down with Josh. I'm in his house. We've just met. He's a buyer. Because I actually did a script that worked on the phone and got an appointment with him, okay? And lo and behold, Josh is sitting there. What comes next?
Selling yourself.
Selling yourself. Grace, you got your hand up back there.
I was just gonna say, explaining the process and how you can help them.
Ah.
To offer them.
The benefits of working with you. Okay? That's called relate benefits. Okay. Step one, I'm okay, you're okay. Number two, Josh wants to buy a house. I've asked enough questions to indicate that there's something there for me to help him with. Okay? Remember one time I used to prospect with a partner and we were at a guy's house and the wife opened the door and she said, "Oh, thanks for coming by, but we decided we're not going to go ahead and sell our house. We're so excited about staying here, and we really didn't want to sell in the first place." And my partner's saying, "Well, you know, we offer," at that time we could say this, "we offer a free appraisal of your home. There's no charge or obligation. We'd like to swing by and help you figure out what it's worth, maybe on Saturday." And I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, "You may be here on Saturday. I'm not coming." There were no needs, okay? Well, things come through my mind at different times. I'm going to reiterate this for you. One of the questions you want to ask in that needs, when do you want to buy a house? Do not forget to ask this question, okay? Sometimes Josh will say, "February, that's when my lease is up." Okay? Relate benefits. We're not going to talk about all the benefits of working with you right now, but give me a couple anyway.
Access to information
Ah, what kind of information?
on homes that are for sale and market statistics, things like that.
But isn't that on the internet?
Yeah, but I know how to find it.
Okay. What do you have access to that I don't?
Accurate information.
Accurate information for one thing. Don't you love those Zestimates? Do you ever see the Zestimates down on the bottom of Zillow? Explain to everybody what a Zestimate is, Jared.
It's like a CMA, but it's completely inaccurate.
A Zestimate, actually, if you go all the way to the bottom in little fine print, you'll see a number like 67 on the bottom of a Zillow estimate of value. What that means is that's their margin for error. That means that they think they're probably somewhere around 33% or more off. Okay? And yet we have millions of homeowners out there every day that will quote this stuff to you. Accurate information. What else do you have to offer?
Negotiate on their behalf.
You can negotiate. I got one for you. You need to tell them about foreclosures. What do you think is true about? Do you think the average website you can search by foreclosures are bank owned? No, you can't. What do you think the best buys are out there right now? Foreclosures bank owned. If Chad's a member of the public and he's going to try to find a home in Washington local for between $75,000 and $100,000, it's the best possible value out there. And Greg here is a real estate agent. He's got access to all that information, and he's willing to do that 2 or 3 hours worth of work. What do you think the chances are better that he can come up with a top 10 list than Chad? Think about that. Got a frame of reference. What else can you do? You guys should leave here with 5 reasons for people to do business with you. You can negotiate in their behalf. What else? Don't you love the guy who says, "Well, I'll just call the listing agent"? If you got sued, would you call the guy's attorney? It's crazy. That agent has a fiduciary responsibility to make sure you pay as much money as possible for that home under the worst possible circumstances. That's their agency agreement when you call them. What else can you do for them, Roger? You can provide them with information. What else? Profiles become a bad word in our language. I hope that's, I don't know why that's true, because this is something you can do that will help people. What is a profile?
Of the house that they're looking for?
If Chad wants to buy a house, you can put him in the computer, and every time that a $75,000 to $100,000 house pops up in Washington local, he knows about it right away. Okay? Powerful. I'm sorry, Alfred, did I talk over you? I apologize if I did.
I was saying, pre-qualify them.
Pre-qualify them, yeah. Here's a phrase for you. Financing. There's 82 lenders out there in our town right now that'll lend you money, John, and I'll guarantee you one of them is the most expensive and one of them is the least. And we like to think we know a little bit about the difference. Anything else?
Paperwork, I mean, we're gonna be able to fill it out in their best interest. I mean, and it's overwhelming to them. It's something that's a little, they're fearful of.
What does the buyer have this, what does the buyer want from you according to research? The number one thing they want.
Communication.
They've done consumer studies, and this pops up at what's called top of the mind preference more often than anything else when they survey buyers. Oh, you guys are going to have a good class. You're going to learn some stuff tonight. One-stop shopping. They want you to take care of everything. Okay? And you need to be able to present that to them. You can help them line up their financing, get their home warranty, help them with insurance. Get some preferred suppliers in your corner and package them into one-stop shopping for your buyers. And I'm not, believe me, I'm not talking out of my hat on that. I'm not even talking about NAR. I'm talking about proprietary studies. Century 21 spent $2 million on a study done by Gallup poll. And the number of times that popped up was 68% of the time. And the next highest was like 37. I mean, this is a big deal. One-stop shopping. They just want it done. People are busy today. We're probably busier than we should be, but we're busy. Okay? So we're going to talk some more. We're going to talk a whole lot about what you can do to present yourself in a very positive way with these buyers. Check for acceptance. What does check for acceptance mean? Well, in their minds, okay, you have rapport, you have needs, you have what we call feature benefit close, and then you have check for acceptance. I'm just going to tell you this one because I don't think you know it. Check for acceptance means what? Roger, do you know this one? Did you ever go through this stuff?
You have to make sure, basically every step of the way, that they know what you're talking about.
That they know what you're talking about, that they see a relationship between what they're trying to do and what you have to offer them. Roger, can you see how the programs that I've outlined for you here could help you find a home quickly and for the best price possible? That's a check for acceptance question. Can you see how letting me do this one-stop shopping for you can make this a little bit easier and a little bit more fun? That's a check for acceptance question. Now I'm going to be watching you carefully. If you say yeah, then I'm going to close. See, in the feature right here at this point in this presentation, if you do what we ask you to do, you're going to be doing a buyer agency agreement presentation. I'm going to be sitting down with Roger and I'm going to say, these are the programs and benefits that we have to work with you and get you a home that makes sense for you. It's the best value out there in the time frame that you're comfortable with the best financing available. That's what you're going to be doing here. You're going to be telling them all about how you're going to do that. And we're going to show you how to do that. And then I'm going to say, hey, does that work for you? And if you say yes, and I say terrific, one of the things that we ask you to do, Roger, is we have a buyer's agency agreement. Now what this is real simple. We're going to be spending a considerable amount of time, energy, and money on helping you find a home to purchase. All we're looking for is your loyalty. We're looking for you to work with us on an exclusive basis for 6 months. Is that something you'd be willing to do for me?
Yes.
Okay. Mick, how many times have you asked for one of those in the last 90 days?
16.
How many of them did you get?
16.
Thank you. Come to class, guys. We'll show you how to do this, okay? How many you got, Josh?
About 15.
About 15? Okay. How many people said no?
None.
None? Okay. Thank you. If you do what we ask you to do in here, guys, your batting average is going to be everybody and a blue moon guy that you didn't want to do business with in the first place. Close for an agreement. I'm going to ask Roger to work with me on an exclusive basis. I'm not asking you for any money, Roger. I'm asking you to work with me on an exclusive basis, or whatever you want to say at that point. All right? All right. Rapport, needs, feature, benefit, close. Check for acceptance. Did I say close? Feature, benefit, close in that section. I'll explain that later. Check for acceptance and close. All right? What's the difference between a feature and a benefit? Oh man, I knew that one, right? What happens when reports are skipped? Or you're too direct with them?
They're uncomfortable.
They're uncomfortable. Yeah, I don't want to overstate this, but there's a good possibility that they don't like you. Okay? And here's what they'll say, they'll say, boy, that Alfred, he had some great stuff, he had some great programs, just some great service. I just wasn't comfortable with him. That's what they'll say. They won't even know what's going on, all right? They're just going to feel like you weren't real fuzzy, warm and fuzzy with them, okay? Got to pet the dog. I'm allergic to dogs, most of them. I still pet the dog, okay? My wife doesn't believe me, that's why she has a dog. What happens when reports skip? They don't like you. What happens when needs are not identified? You waste a lot of time. Thank you. Who said that? Hey, cool. What do you waste your time doing?
Showing houses that they don't like.
Yeah. When you show houses to me that I don't like, what do you think that does to my opinion of you?
You know what you're doing.
You don't know what you're doing. Yeah.
What is the difference between a feature and a benefit?
Feature is wants and benefits is needs.
Feature is, benefit is what it does.
A feature is what it is. A benefit is what it does. What is the MLS? A feature or a benefit?
Features.
It's a feature. Give me, we found using our top 10 list, Magdalena, that we can save people $20,000 to $30,000 on a home in the price range that you're looking for. Could I possibly swing by and drop off a list from the MLS? What is that? Feature or benefit? That's a benefit, okay? What do you think agents talk about?
Features.
What do you think people buy? Benefits, okay? If you really want an insight into the, just take a moment with me and imagine a buyer here and imagine a home here. You're looking at a home. What are they looking at? They're looking at a place to play basketball with their kids, to have Thanksgiving dinner. They're looking at a place to entertain their friends. They're looking at a place to watch TV, curl up around the fire. They're looking at their family living there. They're looking at the benefits of them living there. The guy who always flashes through my mind is a story where there's a couple in the backyard and they got two tiny little kids, 2 and 3, and the salesman's over there prattling on about an in-ground pool. You can have parties over here, it'd be so cool. Is it possible that maybe the agent missed something? I'll be a lot less graphic than the last speaker I saw do this one. Mike, what are you nodding your head about, Mike?
They're worried about those kids getting in the pool.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, all they can do is see these kids going, all right? Now, what do you think they're thinking about this real estate agent genius that they're talking to? It's not happening, right? This is not good stuff, all right? It's got to listen. Difference between a feature and a benefit. Real easy to remember, guys. A feature is what it is. A benefit is what it does. Did you ever hear the expression, sell the sizzle, not the steak? Okay. All right, here we go. Maybe this is where we go. Let me see here. What happens when you don't check for acceptance? This one's a little technical. If you don't check for an acceptance and you go to close, it kind of leaves you hanging out to dry. I would much rather have Roger tell me, no, I don't really see much of a relationship between what I'm trying to accomplish and what you have to offer when I ask for acceptance, than I would ask you to sign that agreement and have you say no. Why?
You don't have any place to go.
I don't have any place to go. That's exactly the answer, yeah. So when you if you don't check for acceptance, when you close sometimes you have no place to go. Gwen?
So I was gonna say you could go back in for another round and try it again.
It's a little hard to pick up the pieces if you don't do number 4. That's why number 4 is out of all of these skills, number 4 is the most, it's like a new pair of shoes. It takes a while to get that one. But if you get number 4, you'll never close prematurely. Okay? Because if they say yes to number 4, they will always say yes to number 5. All right? What is the best closing question?
Do you have any questions?
Oh, you've been watching some videos. Do you have any questions? That's all you got to say. I hope you remember that one too. That's one that some Tommy Hopkins dumped on me about 20 years ago. It's one of the most powerful things I ever learned in this business. Never ask somebody if they want to buy a house or sell a house or whatever. Just say, do you have any questions? They'll tell you where they're at. It's very non-threatening, very simple.
Can you tell me what that question was under check for acceptance again?
Sure.
So,
Okay. I would say, you know, Lisa, we've gone over these programs and everything. Let me ask you a question. Can you see that perhaps the programs and the services that I offer you could help make the purchase of a home a lot easier for you? Perhaps enable you to get a home for the best price and with perhaps even make it a little more fun for you. Something like that. Does that help? Do you want me to do it again? No, we all right?
I'm getting it.
Okay. Checking for acceptance is a tough one. You know, I might say, Alfred, can you see how these programs that we've outlined here tonight can help you get where you want to go relatively quickly and easily? You know, that's a little more folksy way of saying it, a little less formal way of saying it. Just depends on who you're talking to. Can you see how the one-stop shopping that we offer can make this process enjoyable for you? You know what I used to tell people? I'd say, Lisa, you know, buying a home is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be scary. It's not supposed to be something that wakes you up at 3 o'clock in the morning scared to death. It's supposed to be something that wakes you up at 3 o'clock in the morning happy to be alive. Okay? And that's my goal, is to make this the best thing that ever happened to you in terms of places to live. Okay? We want to change everything here. So those are some ideas, some dialogues for you. All right? Why do you do a two-step listing process? The first time out, you need to make friends with them. And you need to break it off. Well, there's a lot of different reasons why you need a two-step listing process, but one of them is they're not going to believe you when you tell them what you think their home is worth, because they know that you've done the homework while you're sitting at their dining room table. In the listing presentation classes, we talk a lot about why you want a two-step listing process. Okay, here we go. I'm going to talk with you tonight about some what we call fives. And I'm going to go over them quickly for you, but I want to encourage you to develop these as basic skill sets as real estate agents and as salespeople, okay? Five good reasons to live in your area. Anybody know one good reason to live in Toledo?
Everything's 15 minutes away.
Everything's 15 minutes away. Anything else? You probably don't think that's all that big of a deal. My son lived in Los Angeles for 2.5 years. And he lived in a place called Delray Beach, which was an hour and a half from downtown Los Angeles where he worked. So he had a 15-hour-a-day job, 15-hour-a-week job on the road. He had a part-time job driving to and from work. It was crazy. We went to see him and we went north of LA, and I asked him if his cruise control worked or not because I was driving. And he didn't know because he'd never gone over 55 miles an hour. He lived there for 9 months. It's a true story. 5 good reasons to live in your area. Great commute. Anything else?
Cost of living?
Cost of living. How much less is the average sale price in Toledo than the average sale price nationally? What's the average sale price nationally?
120.
175. Yeah,
I just saw something the other day that said 120.
check it. This just came in from NAR, okay? 65 in Toledo right now. That number's a little fudged, however. Our average, 65. Here's what's pushing that down. That's really not,
What's that number again?
65.
What is it, the average selling price?
That's the average selling price right now.
I thought it's 105.
It was 105, okay? It's declined a little bit. Here's what I think is the median sale price of houses that are worth talking about. It's around 100 to 110. What's goofing up these numbers is all these $8,000 sales. Averages are a funny thing, okay? I believe that the average single-family owner-occupant purchaser is paying between $100,000 and $110,000 for a house in Toledo.
100 what?
100 to 110, okay? In the greater Toledo area, okay? But you go in there, Alfred, and you look in the MLS and, you know, you sort any kind of sales data and you'll see 6,000, 8,000, 8,000, 8,000, and that's what's goofing these numbers up, okay? Okay, at affordable housing, we would all certainly agree that Toledo's housing is some of the most affordable in the country. For some reason, people think of that as a problem. I'm not sure why. Anything else?
Great drinking water for sure.
Hmm?
That's good drinking water.
Good drinking water, okay.
Great parks, great museum, great zoo. A lot of good restaurants.
The commute, housing,
The people. You don't think the people that...
hey, if you don't think people in Toledo are nice, go to New York, okay?
They're rough there.
Those people will argue about anything for the fun of it. It's the craziest thing I ever saw in my life. Okay, people, zoos. We have one of the top 10 zoos in the country. We have one of the top, I don't know whether it's 10 museums in the world or in the country, but our museum is a very big deal. I mean, it is a very big deal.
And it's free.
And it's free. Where does the Toledo Public Library System, Lucas County Public Library System rank in the United States? Anybody know? We're 8th, okay? 8th. We have an incredible library system. I believe that Toledo is just like its little sister city, Columbus. I believe that it's seriously underrated. I also believe that living in major metropolitan areas is seriously overrated. Quick story, San Francisco taxi cab driver. I'm kind of interviewing him, as is my tendency when I'm driving from the airport to a convention center. And I said, how do you like living in San Francisco? He said, well, I'm an associate professor at Berkeley, and I drive a cab, and my wife works 2 jobs too. And he says, actually, I have a 3rd job. He said, so that we can live in our 1,200 square foot slab ranch with a carport. It costs $600,000. He said, I don't like to live in San Francisco.
Yeah, why is he not packing up and leaving?
I don't know. Good question. 5 good reasons to buy right now, 5 good reasons to sell, 5 good reasons to purchase with you, and 5 good reasons to use your company. And if you don't like living here, don't tell anybody, especially don't tell anybody that wants to buy a house. You need to see yourself as an ambassador for your area, particularly for people coming in from out of town.
There's a lot of people coming out of town nowadays. There's a lot of people coming from out of town.
Coming in from 42% of our purchasers in the area here come in from out of town. Most people don't believe that. Trust me, it's true. Okay? I didn't believe it the first time I heard it either. It's an astonishing number. Okay? But what people don't realize is they think of moves of that kind as corporate transferees only. Most people move because of life events. You know, somebody was born, somebody died, somebody wanted to get close to the kids, get away from the kids, whatever, okay? So.
I've been hearing that a lot, like mom's sick, dad's sick, whatever, they're moving back home, be closer to family, that kind of stuff.
Do you know that in Florida they move 100,000 people a month into Florida, and they move 98,500 out? Interesting, yeah. 5 good reasons to buy right now, 5 good reasons to sell, 5 good reasons to purchase with you, 5 good reasons to use your company. Right next to this, or somewhere on that slide, I would like you to write that your #1 sales job and the only job in this business that pays any real money is what?
Is why people should do business with you.
Selling yourself. That's it. Okay? The rest of these jobs, you know, I'm sorry, but I could train a 4th grader to put a listing in the MLS. It's just not that hard. Okay? Selling yourself and your services. And humor me when I ask you to bear this in mind. As self-evident as it is, people like positive people. Okay? Say positive things. I don't even know what I got on the next slides here, so I better click this first. What do I have here? 5 good reasons to purchase a home. 5 good reasons to buy an investment property. 5 good reasons to have a buyer's agent. 5 good reasons to own a home instead of rent one. Five good reasons to believe things are going to get better. What do you think is going to determine whether or not in America things are going to get better? What do you think the #1 thing is?
House sales.
Attitude.
Whether or not we think they're going to get better. Okay? Yeah, that's the truth. What happens when we think things are going to get better? Why do they get better? Believe me, it's a statistical fact. Why do you think that's true? Self-fulfilling prophecy, thank you. You want to see what the American market, real estate market's going to do 90 days from now? Look at something called the Consumer Confidence Survey. Is that right? Index? Consumer Confidence Index. Yeah, okay. When it's going up, so are real estate sales. When it's going down, when people do not feel good about our future, guys, they stop buying durable goods. Durable goods are things that last longer than 3 years, like cars, computers, and houses. Gwen, question, comment?
Oh, about these fives
Fives?
that go through here. Essentially, are you telling us that you should just kind of have these in your arsenal?
Absolutely.
Use? So it's not like you're saying we should just dump all the stuff on people, but
Ooh.
basically just have it in the arsenal, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Next time you go to church or you go somewhere and somebody says, so how's the real estate market? I'll bet it's horrible. And you start going, well, actually, sales in February were up 42%, and you know, a lot of people don't realize this, but interest rates are at a historic low right now. We're actually hovering right around 4%. We are finding houses to be more affordable today than they've ever been in history. And this person all of a sudden looks like somebody's blowing them up. You know, they turn around to you like this and they go, really? Okay? So I'm serious. Try that sometime, okay? And watch them physically transform in front of your eyes. It's crazy.
Everybody thinks that the market's so bad that you shouldn't be doing anything real estate related. Because when I was telling people that I was getting involved, they go, oh, real estate's the worst thing to get into. That's the stupidest idea I've ever heard of. And I quit back and I said, no, it's now when you get into it and start learning now. So that way when it does take back off, you're equipped.
I was talking to a guy named Alex Sharfin right now, who you may have seen on Fox News or CNN or whatever. He's a national real estate expert. And I was up at 6 o'clock in the morning at this convention, and I just happened to be upstairs eating breakfast when he was up there. So of course I nailed him instantly. Hey Alex, how you doing? Started pumping him for information and stuff. And he told me that, he said I could be on Fox News every day if I was willing to say something negative. He said, I just won't go negative that often. He said, I don't want to be associated with gloom and doom that much. Scaremongers, fearmongers. And I'm not attacking Fox News, okay? I have my own opinions about that. I'll keep them to myself. The entire national media, in my opinion, is engaged in some kind of weird conspiracy to make people either scared or mad. One of the two. It seems like that must be a way to like pump up ratings and get more money or something. But it's you know.
That's what I told you a few months ago when I interned at Fox News. That's what they did. They would sit there and they would cut stuff. So it would say, you know, we had a big thing with Bill O'Reilly where it was the veterans that were living under the bridges and whatnot, and he's saying they don't exist, and there's a big hoopla about that, and they would cut the video so that way people would say certain things without actually saying it, just because they wanted the ratings, and they didn't care.
People need to be reassured right now, okay? And yeah, I would encourage you to put these in your arsenal. That's a good term for it. And to be able to bring them out, okay?
How do you fight that? Because I basically do what you say, you know, I've actually been doing it for a while, and tell them it's not as bad as the media makes it out to be, but people are so brainwashed watching the news.
Well, here's what I would share with you. I would say, you know, Jared, one of the things that people talk about in our area is that we have one of the worst housing markets in the country.
Right.
Now, what they're really saying is that we have one of the most affordable housing markets in the country. Our housing per square foot is priced at one of the lowest levels in the United States. Now, Jared, let me take you on a little journey with me. You want to buy a house today. Is that a bad thing?
No.
Would you consider it? Let's get real crazy here and think about the possibility that it just might be a great thing for you, right?
Right.
So maybe these people aren't really being all that accurate about what they're saying to you. Okay? I got a quick pop quiz for you. 25 years ago, was violent crime up or down from right today? What do you think?
Yeah.
Today versus 25 years ago. What do you think? How many people think up? Up dramatically. Down by a third. People watch too much television. You know, anytime anybody gets killed or whatever, they got four iMovies of it. Okay? So yeah, you have to fight this a little bit, Gwen, you know?
Can you answer
Sure.
why the 5 reasons to sell now?
Sure. Give me one. Lisa says, this guy's crazy.
No, that's the one that I thought, well, wait a minute, I can understand why you buy now. It's a buyer's market supposedly, right?
Okay, let me ask you this.
How do you get people to sell when they know that it's a buyer's market?
Well, you know, Lisa, you mentioned to me that you really need to sell this house sometime in the next 2 or 3 years, okay? And here's a thought for you. People always ask me, when is the market going to get better? What do you think nobody ever asks me?
It's worse.
When is it going to get worse? Okay? What has the value of real estate in Toledo done in the last year?
Gone up.
What do you think? It's gone down 5%. Okay? Do you want to wait another year? Okay? See, you know, what you're really telling me, if you want to wait, is that somehow you're going to wait until things get better. We've been waiting for things to get better for 5 years. Okay? That's one possibility. What else could I tell her? What do you think interest rates are supposed to do in the next year? Up. Pretty much a consensus that they're going to go up, right? What is that going to do to the pool of buyers out there? Potentially drive them down. Lisa, you might not realize this, but you may look back at this as the best possible time you've had in the last 5 years to sell your home. Or maybe in the next 5 years too. Okay? Any other possibilities here, guys? What if you're doing an upgrading move?
If you're doing an upgrading move, you don't want to miss this market.
Why? It's the best time to upgrade in the last 35 years. If you're going from an $80,000 house to a $250,000, if you do not do that in the next 6 months, you will have missed one of the greatest buying opportunities in history. Why? See, these are the facts, Lisa. Nobody talks about this stuff. I don't know why. I don't know why they don't do it, but it's ridiculous. If you know anybody that's going to do an 80 to a 200 to 250 move, they need to do it right now. I mean, not yesterday and not tomorrow. Okay? Why? Okay, I'll tell you.
From interest rates?
Interest rates are part of it, absolutely. What else?
They're going to buy that house at 30 to 40% off the mark.
If they get 20% less for this house than they would have 5 years ago, how much money is that going to cost them? $16,000, right? If they buy a house for $250,000 and they get 20% off of that, how much is that? How much money did they just make? What were interest rates 5 years ago when they bought this $80,000 house?
6-7%.
6-7%. At 6%, it costs $6 a thousand to borrow money per $1,000 that you borrow. At 4%, how much money does it cost? $4.23. That's another $1.77 per $1,000 that you borrow. I'm telling you guys, the facts are on your side. We'll go over this. If some of you look a little stunned, it's like I can't absorb all this at once. That's okay. We'll slow it down for you. The question was, okay? People will look back at this, Lisa, as the best buying opportunity in history. They will, okay? And arguably, for an upgrading buyer, possibly the best move up in buying environment that we're ever going to see again.
So if they're moving down, let's say they're downsizing, it's not that great of a...
Depends on what kind of hit they're going to take on their house, okay? One of the things that's pretty cool about this is you're going to have to hunt and peck to make this happen, okay? Because there's lower foreclosure rates the higher you go up to a certain point, up to about like 350 or 400, okay? So if you're doing a downgrade move, if you're getting ready to do a downsizing move, again, it goes back to points 1 and 2. Interest rates are going to be higher. I mean, that whole European debt bomb thing, it's going to hit sooner or later, guys, okay? And when it does, interest rates are going to skyrocket. So I would argue that you know what the playing field is now. You do have the potential for the market not to come back and continue to deteriorate, in particular in certain price ranges. I don't know, maybe you should wait until things get quote unquote better. I'm not real sure what's going to get better, okay? So we got 3. Any other reasons to buy right now?
To sell right now. To sell right now.
To sell right now, thank you. Any other reasons to sell right now? Time of year?
Yeah, it's spring.
It's spring, okay? We're the best buying market available right now. And I got one more for you. It's called Housing Affordability Index. It mixes 3 things. Whenever you see an article about the Housing Affordability Index, HAI, read it, okay? There's always information in there you can use. The Housing Affordability Index takes into account 3 factors. What are they?
Home interest rates,
Interest rates,
average income,
average income,
average home price.
average home price. So it takes today's rates, the average price, and the median income for the United States. A Housing Affordability Index of 100 means the average person using today's interest rates can buy the average priced home. That's 100. I've seen it run as high as 160. Today it's 67. We have the lowest housing affordability index in history right now, which means houses are more affordable today than they have ever been. Okay? So, granted, we've had some challenges in terms of pricing. Theoretically, Lisa, is it possible that 3 to 5 years from now housing prices may rebound and you may be able to get a better deal for your home? Yes. Is it possible that the market is going to take a lot longer than that to recover? Absolutely. Only you can make a decision as to what's in your best interest right now. Okay? Let's have some fun with a couple more of these. Pick one. What's the first one on the list, on the last slide? My God, it's 8:20. You can't. Pick one, Greg.
Investment property.
Investment property. Why buy an investment property?
Cheap.
What has the stock market done in the last 11 years?
Nothing.
Nada. Okay.
I love that Spanish. Just learned that one, nada.
I'm working on it. Yeah, I just learned that one. No, actually, I knew that one.
Okay.
Stocks, 1.5% a year. Okay? Last 11, 12 years. I may have to check that statistic because now they're moving up on me. It's crazy, but it's true. Okay, what else? Why would you want to buy investment property? There's all kinds of good reasons for that. Tax shelter.
Rental market is up. Rental prices are up.
Rents are going up 7.3%. And what has residential real estate investment property done in the last 5 years in terms of this area? It's gone down 30%. Prices are down 30%. Rents are up 7.3. Let's do the math. Real estate investment math anyway, has improved dramatically in the last few years. You can actually make money owning investment real estate. People used to buy these just for tax shelter. I don't want to do an investment class, but I can tell you that the tax shelter involved in investment real estate is enormous. Okay? I could give you 10 good reasons to own investment real estate. Greg, principal reduction, okay? Tax shelter, depreciation schedules, cash flow, positive cash flow. 91% of all American millionaires made their money in investment real estate. 91%. Phil?
A lot of the renters now are high quality renters because they owned a house. They came out of the house. This is a great time to have renters.
You know, I think
They know how to take care of stuff rather than calling you.
I think every day I get more calls from people who want to rent a house than I do from people who want to buy one. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, I know that you're selling it, but I just wanted to check, you know, and I mean, it's to the point where I can hardly get any work done, you know, and I don't know how to sort them out, you know, it doesn't go renter when your phone rings. Okay, other possibilities. Alfred, you got one for me? You want to do one? 5 good reasons to do an investment property. How about 5 good reasons to buy right now? Want to do that one? Some of them are already on the board, guys. Interest rates.
Property values are down.
Property values are down.
Instant equity.
Prices, great selection, instant equity.
They can be in neighborhoods they never could afford to before.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can buy a house for $50,000 in Toledo, Ohio, in a safe, secure, stable neighborhood right now. Unbelievable.
There's not much around out there anymore. I've been searching
They're dry-
for
they're-
$80,000 homes and I can't find them.
They're drying up, yeah.
Huh?
You saw mine.
You know when you can tell the market's getting healthier, Alfred? When the investors start complaining about the good old days.
That's right.
All right.
And then lengths of mortgages that you can even get now. You don't have to even go with that 30-year mortgage to get in these houses at an affordable price.
One of the most exciting things I've seen recently is an awareness amongst 20 and 30-year-old kids that they need to get a 15-year mortgage. It's great stuff. Great stuff. Get these houses paid for. I'm sorry?
I said, I have one shorter than that.
Do you? Good for you.
5-year mortgage.
Excellent. Excellent.
I just had lunch with some people from Key Bank. They told me that the FHA rate, at least at Key, I don't know if all banks are on board yet, 580.
580, really?
80.
Okay.
It was 620 for a long time.
Good. Good to
And
know.
640 at one point.
Can you email me a contact person there? Because I'd like to get that in front of the company. That'd be great stuff. Okay? All right. 5 good reasons to have a buyer's agent. We talked a little bit about that. Do you guys want to do any of this other stuff? Here's what you need to become. You need to become somebody that's fun to be around. That's what you want to be. All right? You know, you don't have to be Mr. Pie in the sky, okay? I mean, I'm not some effervescent guy. Those of you that know me know me that very well. But it's okay if you put people in a better mood than when they were starting to talk to you. Some communication skills. Asking difficult and personal questions. 4-step process. Ask permission. May I ask, can I ask? Ask permission. Well, first of all, use their name. I should have put that up there on top. Use their name, ask permission, ask the question, and tell them why. Okay. Alfred, can I ask you some questions about your current financial situation in order to help you tailor a financing program, hopefully get you the lowest possible interest rate? Would that be okay? Okay. Nick, how much money did you make last year? Sounds a little different?
Yeah, she was up.
Did I ask the same question?
Yes, you did.
What was missing?
The level.
Tact. Okay. Use their name. Ask permission. Ask the question. Tell them why. You follow these 4 rules, and if your why makes sense, you can always ask anybody anything, and they will not be offended. Okay?
If you wouldn't have those slides at all in here.
You don't? Okay.
Those are not the slides we have.
I think you're going to find that some of that stuff's in here. Wait a minute, let me look.
None of those is stuff in here.
Okay.
What we talked about today, nothing in here.
Nothing yet? Okay. All right. Well, if you guys, when you sign the information sheets, I don't know, maybe I printed out the wrong stuff or whatever, but I will send you these notes, okay? Having said that, I really hope you keep right on taking notes, okay? Don't get frustrated with me. If you humor me and take the additional notes, a couple of things will happen. Some of the stuff I'm sharing with you is not in the notes, number 1. And number 2, you'll retain about 2.5 times more than you will if you don't take notes. So just hang with me, all right? All right. The basics of delivering a low offer. Wow, I really hope you remember this one. Never tell them it's a low offer. What do you tell them instead?
An offer.
I have an offer for you. Don't imply, don't get sing-song in your voice. Oh, I have an offer for you. You just characterized it as a low offer. I learned this early on in the business, fortunately. I couldn't believe the difference. It was just remarkable. I would tell them, oh, I've got an offer for you. I'd like to come over and present it. And I would present it to them. And I would wait for a response. And they're like, well, honey, I think we're good with that. Half the time I'd have to convince them to come back. We were in a lot hotter market than we are now. Sometimes I would have to convince them to counter. So never characterize a low offer as a low offer. What in your mind is a low offer. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Okay? Talked about Ford. What is mirroring?
What is what?
Mirroring?
Figuring out what their emotions are and trying to...
The other person?
Mm-hmm.
You mirror their body language?
How do you do that?
Well, if I was trying to mirror you, I would maybe stretch my legs out, cross my hands like your hands are, shake my head like you are, and then casually put my arms down like you are, without you noticing it.
It's going to make me a little crazy, Jared. You know what I mean?
That's how I've won every interview I've ever done in my life.
Detectives will do that if they're interrogating you. Did you know that? They'll mirror you.
It builds instant rapport.
Yeah.
What if they're like this?
What if they're like that? We're going to talk about that hopefully before we get out of here a little bit tonight
Hands
anyway.
up like that, and eventually, once you start building rapport, you put your hands down, and they'll put their hands down.
That's exactly what you do, actually. Yeah, when somebody's high on the chest like this and they're indicating a real serious rejection mode, okay, especially if they're all thin-lipped and they're being a little snippy with you, cross your arms at the same level. You're exactly right about that. Okay.
Yeah, once you make the connection.
Yeah.
Like when I've done job interviews, they'll start out with their laundry list of questions about the job, and I'll ask them about the sailboat on their desk or something like that. Next thing you know, the next hour they're talking about sailing. They even finish the job interview, they make me the offer or whatever.
Works. Paraphrasing is a slight restatement of what somebody's telling you. Roger, role play with me. So help me understand this a little bit. What kind of home are you looking for again, Roger?
I'm looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home in a $90,000 neighborhood for $47,000.
Okay, good. So what I hear you telling me then is that you're really looking for something that represents a true bargain. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's a paraphrase. Okay. So that price sensitivity, it sounds like that's probably the most important thing to you.
Yes, it is.
That's a clarifying question, okay? This is what shrinks do for a living. That's all they do is sit there and paraphrase. It's a great job, okay? Slight restatement of what somebody's telling you. Paraphrasing looks pretty simple. It's one of the most powerful communication skills known to man. Okay? You can sit at a cocktail party and do this all night long, and no one will ever even know. You know what they say about you after, and I've done this before for the fun of it at a party. You know what they say at the end of the hour?
He's a good listener.
No, you're a great conversationalist. Boy, I'll tell you, you really are fun to talk to. I'm like, I haven't said anything. Okay? Yeah. It's true. Clarifying. I think $90,000 is too much for that home, Dennis. Well, Tony, help me understand this. Are you saying that you just don't think that home is worth $90,000, or you're just not comfortable in that price range? Am I saying you think maybe you can't afford that, or you don't think the house is worth the money? That's a clarifying question. Okay? Well, we'd like to think it over for a while. Paraphrase. So what I hear you telling me is you'd like to give this some further consideration. Alfred, you and I are in a listing appointment. So what I hear you telling me is you'd like to give this some further consideration then, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, I can certainly appreciate that, Alfred. Just so I'm clear in my thinking, can I ask what it is you'd like to think over? Were you comfortable with the information I shared with you on value?
Yes, I am comfortable with the value, but I want to see if I can interview other agents.
Okay, so your concern is that you'd like to maybe take a look at what other agents are offering you, right?
Possibly.
Okay. Let me ask you this. If I was able this evening to answer any question that you might have, address any concern that you might have, and you were totally comfortable with the idea of me going to work for you tonight, would you be willing to let me do that for you?
Oh, sure.
Bing. Okay?
What if you said no?
I would say I can certainly understand that, Alfred. Then I'm going to give him what we call the sandwich. The sandwich looks like this, Gwen. Alfred, it seems to me like you really need to get those other opinions, and I can certainly respect this. Why don't we do this? After you've had a chance to interview all of those agents, what I'd like to do, first of all, I'm going to go home and do some additional research for you. I'm going to seek out another research source, and I'm going to find the private sales as well as the listings that are in the MLS. I'm going to do some additional homework for you. And what I'd like to do is to maybe give you a commitment and ask for a commitment at the same time. I'd like to come back over after I've had a chance to do this research for you and present it to you. Provide and maybe also address any concerns or answer any questions you might have after having talked to all those people. As long as you're willing to commit to me not to list with anybody until we've met again. Would that be okay?
I think that sounds very fair.
Now somebody like Alfred, I'm going to shake hands with you right now, Alfred. I'm going to say, Alfred, we have a deal. Now what happens to those guys, Gwen?
You're going to come and go.
Do they actually keep their commitment usually?
Yeah, 80–90%. If somebody is that insistent on getting that second opinion, you're not. You can't push. I couldn't push Alfred beyond that point without risking blowing the whole relationship. Okay, so I have to shift from tactic one, which is trying to get the contract tonight, to trying to get back in there, get the sandwich. Okay. All right. Anybody got any questions about that? We go over that pretty extensively in the listing. It's also in the objections class. It's called the sandwich. All right. Think I get your listing, Alfred? Some communication skills. Disclosure. Tony, it seems tonight, you know, I'm sitting here, we're getting ready to write this offer, and let me tell you something. You're taking me back to a certain point in time in my life. You seem a little nervous. You seem kind of really antsy about this whole thing. And you know, when I bought my first home, I got to be honest with you, Tony, I was scared to death. And you know, it was an interesting experience for me because I went to the closing table, I signed all these forms and everything, and it was really a big deal. But you know, I'd been in the real estate business for 4.5 years when that happened. And it was still nerve-wracking for me. What have I just done for Tony?
Calm him down.
I related to him. What else have I done? Empathized.
Let him know that his feelings are okay.
Disclosure, write that down. Makes people understand that their anxiety is normal in that environment. It normalizes what they're thinking and feeling. See, I don't want Tony sitting there thinking, if this is such a good idea, why am I a nervous wreck? Okay, that's what disclosure does for you. Okay. You know, Tony, you remind me of John and Mary. 2 weeks ago, I sold a house to them. Boy, they were sweating bullets. And you know, last week we closed, and they were happy campers. They went out of their way to tell me what a wonderful experience it was and how glad they were that they went through with it. Disclosure, normalize, empathize, relate, create relationships. Disclosure is powerful, real powerful. Give them a piece of you. Works. Okay? Any questions about that? Okay.
Feel found, something like that disclosure thing.
I'm sorry?
The disclosure is just like feel found.
Feel found. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, depending on the type of personality that you're dealing with, for most of them, at least half of them, telling them a little bit about yourself and what's important and what matters to you is really a great thing. They need to humanize you. They need to see you as a person. Transitional phrases, we talked a little bit about that. I can understand how you feel. I can appreciate that, etc. I can appreciate that is probably my all-time favorite transitional phrase. I was trying to talk to an agent today about coming to work at Key. And she's like, well, I'm perfectly happy where I am. And I said, well, I can appreciate that. Not really, no. I can appreciate that, but you know, here's what I'd like to do if I could for you, is maybe get you a chance to compare apples and oranges, compare what we have to offer you with what you're doing right now. You may decide based on that you want to stay where you are forever, but at least that way you can make a decision based on the facts. Tuesday at 11 o'clock. This stuff works, guys. You got to learn it, okay? But it makes a big, big difference. Somebody was riding in the car with me when I was having that conversation. And he looked at me and he said, if you didn't do apples and oranges, you'd have been dead meat. I said, yeah, I know. Okay? This stuff can really change your life. Transitional phrases. See, I just gave you a disclosure, Jared. Little snippet of my life. Agreeing to disagree. I can understand that. I can appreciate that. I'm going to send along to you some additional transitional phrases. I got like 13 of them. Actually, I think you're going to find them in the buyer seminar. Open-ended questions. We just talked about those. Open-ended questions begin with who, what, where, when, why, and how. Closed-ended questions. What is a closed-ended question?
Do you have any questions?
Yes or no answer. Can you give me an example?
Are you happy for what you saw today or what you heard today?
That's okay. I don't know though. Do that again for me.
Are you happy for everything that you heard from me today?
Yes. I guess that would elicit a yes or a no response. Okay. A tie down is a way to take anything that you say and convert it into a closed-ended question, isn't it? It's a nice day today. We're really learning a lot tonight, aren't we?
That's NLP.
This could be very annoying after a while. Couldn't it? Yeah. It's an easy way to seek agreement. When do you want to use closed-ended questions and when do you want to use open-ended questions? In the old days, we used to sit down with other agents and present offers. I don't know whether you guys knew that or not. But one night I was sitting there with a guy, I'll never forget it as long as I live. This guy went to sign his contract, and his agent reached across the table and he grabbed his arm and he said, "Are you sure you want to do this?" Or no, he said, "How do you really feel about this?" Bet they don't do that often at the car lot, huh? You having any second thoughts? Yeah, you don't want to do this, yeah. When do you use open-ended questions? Building rapport. What else?
When you're trying to find needs.
Identify needs.
Open-ended questions when you don't know the answer.
When you don't know the answer, you're looking for information, trying to create a relationship, looking for input, looking for feedback. This is important, demonstrating a sincere interest in what they're trying to accomplish. When do you use closed-ended questions?
Contract.
When
When you're doing the contract.
When you're doing the contracts. I'll tell you one thing you want to know about the difference between open-ended questions and closed-ended questions. Agents always screw this up on the phone. Good question or bad question to ask on the phone? Give me one. We'll vote. Phil, give me a question you'd ask on the phone.
What are you doing right now to find your house? How you been looking?
Good question, bad question.
What did you say? I didn't understand.
What have you been doing to find a house? What have you been doing in your search? What have you been using, what tools?
Oh, I never asked anybody that before.
It's a good question. Are you working with a realtor right now? Good question. Bad question, why?
Because it's too easy for them to just
Say
get
yes.
out of it.
They're going to say
Yeah.
They're going to say yes.
Yeah.
Even if they're not, they're going to say yes.
Yeah, my goal in life is to get you off the phone, and you just gave me the perfect way to get there.
That's open for interpretation.
Do you think agents ask that question every day?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Don't ask closed-ended questions on the phone, guys. period. There's no good environment for that. We're going to talk about converting buy signs into contracts. Gwen, you're in a house. You've got an MLS sheet in front of you. I say, what are the taxes on this house? You can say $1,062.58 a half, or you can say to me, you know, what I'd like to do for you if I could is to gather up all of the information about all of the questions you have about this home, because it sounds to me like you might be interested in it, and then we'll carefully review all of that information, okay? What are you going to say, no? I think you're going to say yes, right? What do I have now?
Permission to do more research or?
Well, here's what I said. I said we're going to have a little review appointment at the end. It sounds to me like you might have some interest in this home. People don't ask what the tax is. They don't ask you, especially 4 or 5 of these kind of questions without having an interest in a home. They don't care, okay? So when they start asking you questions like that, you say, Gwen, what I'd like to do is to maybe, when we're done here, we'll just go ahead and review all of the information about this home. That way we'll have all the factual information in front of us, okay? What do I have? If you say yes, that's a good idea. What do I have now?
An appointment to sit down with them. Papers.
I have an appointment to sit down with you and write an offer, right? If you have an interest in buying this home. What do I have if I answer your question?
Nothing.
Nothing. I have an answer to your question. Okay? That's how you convert a buy sign into an appointment. Okay? Did you hear that, Grace? Back there in the corner?
Mine asks me every time I fill out.
Yeah?
Client I've ever had.
Use
What are the taxes?
any question, any buy sign that they have like that. You just say, let's take a moment after we're done with all these houses. We're going to zero in on all the factual information about this particular home and answer any questions or concerns that you have about this. Is that okay?
Oh, so you're talking about buying signals that they're giving off? Oh,
Yeah.
I was thinking you were talking about something else, and I'm thinking, okay. Okay, so you're saying when they're giving you signals, indications, you know, that they like the house, then you're trying to channel them into a sitting down with a pen.
They say, you know, I like this house, but the roof scares me. I might say to you, if we're in the house and we're moving along, and I don't have another approach, I might say to you, you know, Gwen, if you have an interest in this particular home, we might be able to address that. Why don't we sit down briefly after we've gone through the showings, and we'll discuss this home and the roof and your concerns about it in more detail, okay? Now I've got an appointment to sit down and write an offer with you. If you guys don't remember anything else I've shared with you tonight, remember that one, okay? Agents miss opportunities to write offers all the time. They say stupid stuff like, I'm sure you want to go home and think about this. Come on, give me a break. You know? Yeah, I'm sure you want to go home and scare yourself to death. And not only that, I don't want to be there because I might be able to help you with that. Okay?
I think the one with the roof, I think is easier for us, Dennis. We're standing there with the MLS sheet and, you know, we've got this real estate license on the wall and stuff, and we kind of get in our way. Our mind gets turned on it, so we just spit it out like Jared said, you know, we just spit it out. And we need to flip that. That is a buy sign, and we need to say, you know, you're probably searching for how much your monthly payment may be, and that, you know, you're showing interest in this property, and that's really something we should talk about back at the office, because the tax will be a reflection of what your overall payment will be. You know, we could probably pick that up at the office, and I could break that down for you.
So Dennis, if they present a sign at the first house that you show them, and you're gonna show them 3 more that day, you sit with them as soon as you're done showing them that house, or when you're done with it?
When you're done with all 4. Okay? Now, if at times they get real agitated, they say, I don't want to see the other 3, I want to go home and write it, or we want to get an offer in on this house, write the offer. Okay? Just write the offer. So well, that's fine. You know, this is a great opportunity. It's a good value. I don't want it to get away from you. I don't want to be looking over our shoulder at this one. Let's go write an offer. But it has to be pretty extreme. Okay? I would encourage you to go all the way through the showings. Okay? Use the rest of them to, you know, as you get a feel for buyers, you're going to get a feel for what one they're going to want. You know, you get to know these people and you get to know the process of working with buyers. If you work with enough of them, you're going to walk into house number 3, you're going to look at them, you're going to look at the house and you're going to go, this is it. You know, you're going to know. And when that happens, make sure they buy that house, because if that's the one that they should be buying, if they miss on that one, you're going to have a real hard time finding them a house that they want. Right? Gwen's nodding her head, right? Yeah.
They're trying to duplicate that.
They're trying to buy that one again, and it ain't there. So yeah, push a little bit, Roger. Tell them that, you know. Say, here's my concern. It's real easy when agents choke when they should be talking. It's because they're unwilling to say what's really on their mind. If I was with you, Roger, I'd say, you know, Roger, I got to tell you this, and I hope it isn't misinterpreted. You need to write an offer on this house, okay? Because, you know, I've been doing this for a long time, and this one's it. I mean, tell them that. If that's what you think, tell them that. Tell them, I'm not going to do any better than this for you. And if this one gets away from us, I'm really going to struggle to try to replicate it for you. If that's what you're thinking, by God, you owe it to them to have that conversation. You know, agents get in trouble when they worry about how they look. You know, if you're saying what's in your heart and on your mind, you'll be golden, okay? Objections versus observations. This is how you create an objection. You say to someone, the first time that you hear an objection, it's an observation from a buyer. Oh, that roof's really a concern for me. Say, I see. And the reason is because you want to afford them an opportunity to tell you how serious of an objection it is, or maybe it's just an observation. If I'm patient and I don't jump in there and try to fix this, Jared, maybe you're liable to say to me, well, my brother-in-law's a roofer and I could probably get this house cheaper without the new roof. Something to write down next to objections versus observations is that their response is always better than yours. Okay? Their idea about how to fix something like this is always better than yours. Don't jump in there the first time you hear something. The smoke screen has an objection. Smoke screens, the only thing you can do with a smoke screen is to ask a question. I want to think it over. What's the problem with treating that as an objection? I'm a seller. I'm sitting in a listing appointment. I say, I want to think it over.
You lose the deal. Chance.
What happens? What would you say to me if I said I want to think it over?
I would love to know what you're thinking about. So
Or let me,
what do you want to think over?
yeah, let me rephrase it. Why, if you started to try to respond to that with anything other than a question, what do you have to do?
Know
No?
why they want to think it over.
Yeah, you're guessing at why I'm thinking it over, right? This is a subtle point. Alfred, we're sitting in a listing presentation, and you tell me you want to think it over, and I say, well, I understand, but you know, and then I start reviewing pricing data because I made an assumption that that was the issue, when actually my credentials was the issue. What happens? It's ugly, isn't it?
Yeah.
Think about it, okay? When you hear a smoke screen, and I want to think it over as a classic example of a smoke screen,
That's it.
you got to ask questions. You can't come up with a statement. Just so I'm clear in my thinking, Alfred, may I ask what it is you'd like to think over? If you're still not telling me, I'm going to say, well, is it the price? Is it my credentials? Is it our company? Is it your commitment to selling right now? You know, I'm going to ask until I find out. Or you kick me out, one of the two. Objections is opportunities. Why is an objection an opportunity? Hang with me, guys. We're down to 5 minutes. Okay? And I'll get you out on time, I promise.
Because if they don't say what they're objecting to, you don't have an opportunity to counter it. They're just walk out the door thinking that thing, and you might have been able to address it.
Now, Gwen, as you say that, frame that response in the idea of riding with them, following you down the street.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, I
That's the
like it.
biggest problem.
I like
Yeah.
it.
That's the biggest problem. People used to say to me, well, how come I have to ride in your car with you? And I say, well, it's real simple. When you're following me around, it's no fun. I'm just not having any fun. And then I laugh, and they go, oh, okay. And then I get in my car. I don't care. I just spoke French to them if I needed to, because I need them in my car for them to be my buddy. They're following me around, I'm the salesman. Okay? Objections is opportunities. Anytime that somebody says to you, arguably when they say something like the roof, the electrical, when they tell you, well, geez, I don't know about my financing or whatever, here's how you want to interpret that. I don't like the roof. I may be interested in buying this house. As a matter of fact, I'm interested in it enough to tell you this. Would you please fix this roof problem for me? Now, I don't know about you guys, but I see that as an opportunity. Okay? I hope you do too. If we don't have any problems to solve, guys, we're not getting paid. All right? So that's what we do. And that's why I'm glad. I'm glad when somebody says to me, I had this guy chase me down. It was my granddaughter's birthday today, so I had to sub for my son on a listing appointment today. I went over there, and they were all standoffish and stuff, and I was, just running through my little spiel. And as I was leaving, this guy's chasing me across the lawn, this dentist chasing me across the line. Going, let me ask you a question. What's your commission rate? Glad you asked. Okay. What does that tell you? What does that tell me? He wants to list.
But they may want to list with you.
Yeah, he may want to list his house. I told him, and I said, but more importantly than that, I'd like to get maybe 15, 20 minutes when you come back from Arizona. I'll swing by, we'll talk about what we do for a living. Fair enough? He said, yeah, that'd be great. What do I have now? A listing appointment, right? Be intentional in your responses to things, okay? One more and we'll get out of here. Oh, we're not doing that one. Remind me when we get back. That's a 20-minute presentation. Okay. Body language, the key. We'll do some of these and then we're out. Brisk walker, what does that mean? Is that where your notes start, Alfred? Yes. Okay. Okay, I know what went wrong. I apologize. I will get you the complete notes from what we just covered this evening, okay? Everything you saw on the board, all right? Okay, brisk walker. Confident, in control, goal-oriented. How somebody walks can tell you a lot about them. Who am I? Timid? Shy? Quiet? Reserved? Perhaps insecure? Okay? Watch my shoulders. What do my shoulders tell you?
Uptight. Slouched.
Slouched? What is that?
Just timid, shy, reserved. I think we're back on the golf course again.
Needy posture, slouch, negative, mistrustful, beaten down, lacking confidence. You're going to need strong leadership. Back on the golf course, huh, Phil? Even parental behavior from you in a sales situation. This is somebody you may have to sit down with them and say, Tony, I know you're looking to me for some guidance on this. This is what we're going to do, okay? You may have to be that direct with them, okay? This is somebody who needs you to be in charge sometimes. I remember one time I did a buying versus renting presentation. This couple said, well, we were wondering if we should just rent our house or we should sell it. And I went through this 20-minute presentation on a legal pad of the pros and cons, and they were looking at him, and he said, Dennis, thank you so much for sharing all that information with. It was so helpful. We were wondering, should we sell this home or should we rent it? Shoulders. I said, rent it. Shoulders. Hunched shoulders leaning forward. Acceptance or defeat. Guys, it's 9 o'clock. Next week, we're going to continue on. And we'll get all the way through the body language, all the way through the types of personalities and stuff, okay? This is professional communication skills, and then we move right into the buyer seminar. Please come back and see me, okay? Best part of my week, buddy. I really enjoy coming in here and talking to you guys. I really do. It's fun. Yeah. Thanks, Alfred.
Was it the one right next to Kroger? Yeah.
Hey, were you supposed to send me something last week? I keep feeling like either I forgot something or...